Hi, this is Tracy. Thanks so much for being here. Please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. I have a confession that should embarrass me more than it does. Well, it does embarrass me a little, and we're going to need to sit with that. Nobody's in the house but for the dogs and I. I've poured myself a second Italian soda. I don't drink, so there's no wine to blame the sun. I'm wearing the kind of fragrance that, at a dinner party, with anyone whose opinion I cared about, I would cross the room to avoid being identified with. I'm wearing Mon Guerlain Intense. The fragrance Angelina Jolie sold me, by which I mean I saw the ad, I bought it. I'm the demographic. This was never in question. It is heavily vanillic. The lavender is the only thing keeping it from collapsing into outright dessert. The lavender is extraordinary. It weaves through the heart of the vanilla like an aromatic thread, and yes, I am the kind of woman who is now apparently saying aromatic thread out loud on YouTube with both hands on the bottle. I wear it to bed, and when I wake up at around 5 in the morning, the tonka is still on the pillow, faint, a bit like a person who hasn't quite committed to getting up. I have, in the privacy of my own house, made a kind of peace with the part of me that wants to smell like this. Sweet, soft. The register, the cultural conversation, has decided that this is what you reach for when you haven't read enough. Well, I have read enough, and I want to reach for it anyway. I want to relax. I want to just be. And here's the thing the cultural conversation left out. I want to smell nice while I do it. This is the episode about the fragrances I wear when nobody's watching and what they tell me about the gap between the person I publicly perform and the person I privately am. And the gap is wider than I would like it to be. There is a specific genre of fragrance. The woman's fragrance conversation has been embarrassed about for at least 20 years. And I've most probably been embarrassed about it for at least 19 of those 20 years. I am, in this episode, returning my embarrassment for store credit. The genre is sweet. It's almost always floral, and it's almost always cast as the easy answer, the fragrance you reach for when you haven't worked out what you're for. This is the fragrance that wins at the airport because the airport is supposed to be the place where the unsophisticated person buys the unsophisticated thing. And I've read enough cultural criticism to know all of this. I've also read enough cultural criticism to know that knowing it is not the same thing as being free of it. Mon Guerlain Intense is one of those fragrances. I own a backup bottle. I bought the backup bottle on a separate occasion, fully sober, with my own money. There, now you know. Portrayal Woman is the niche credentialed version of the same instinct. Amouage, Cecile Zarokian, 2020. Let me spray it on skin. It's an indolic jasmine that takes itself seriously, which is to say that it is a jasmine I am allowed to say I like out loud. The jasmine is beautiful. It's tinged with a hint of decay, and the decay, and you do have to wait a little while for it, is what amplifies the opulence and the languor of the rest. There is somewhere in the middle of the dry down a slight infusion of cigarettes, the long thin ones my mother used to smoke when she was being glamorous, which was every Tuesday and approximately every other day of the week. And I wear it when I want to feel beautiful and desirable. I move with a large scent trail through the house, and the dogs smell of it. I've stopped apologizing to the dogs, but the smell is doing the same thing as Mon Guerlain intense. It's making me feel comfortable, sweet, sensual, soft, beautiful. It's the same argument, but it has better French. L'Entité Rouge is the designer house version of the dark take on the same project. Herbert Givenchy made the original L'Entité for Audrey Hepburn in 1957, and she then theatrically forbade him to actually take it mainstream. She later came around. The Rouge version, more than 60 years later, is phenomenal. It puts a patchouli note underneath the rose, and it has cinnamon on the top. It's a lot spicier than the original, and it's also sweeter. It is, to be very specific, a fragrance that suggests a great deal of upholstery. The opening has the warmth of a Cleopatra bath, and I'm aware that Cleopatra's done substantial work for the cosmetics industry without ever signing a release. It's warm, it's embracing, and it cheers me up and it relaxes me, both at once, which is a trick almost no fragrance manages and which several of my closest relationships have failed to perform as well. It is what you wear when you've decided to be looked at and also to be at home in your own skin, both at once, and you don't want to apologize for either. Little Song is created by Giuseppe Imprasibile, founder of Mio Fusciuni. For me, he's the Italian niche perfumer who is sincerely doing the thing the rest of perfume copy only claims to do. He molds poetry and fragrance into a single object. Let me spray it on skin. Let me just take this button away because I'm running out of a little real estate, actually. Goodness, this is... Oh. Little Rose is coffee and rose, and I generally wear it when I feel sad and when I'm down and when I need something that puts things into perspective. Maybe it's the coffee. Maybe it's the rose. You know what? Maybe it's the combination of the two. The bitterness held by something soft that lifts me in a way none of the others would. The other 4 bottles on the tray are fragrances I reach for to be a softer version of the public self. And Little Song is the one I reach for to be a more honest version, I guess, of my private self. The presence of one bottle that doesn't fit the genre is most probably the most important thing on this tray. It's also the bottle I would be most embarrassed to be photographed wearing, not because it's uncool, but because anyone who knew it was on me would also know what kind of mood I'd bought it for. Gold is the most decorative of the 5. It's Yves Saint Laurent. Take this up. It's from the Le Vestiaire des Parfums, the niche line that YSL built for the fragrances they wanted to make outside the mass market brief, which is a very delicate way of saying more expensive. The bottle is clear glass, so you can see the juice, and the juice is gold. The name is gold, so there's no metaphor at work here. Subtlety's not been invited. It's rather stunning. It is creamy and indolic. It's very much a white floral and very much a tuberose. It's voluptuous and sinuous, which are the only 2 words that describe what it does on my skin, and which I have never in my life been called by an actual person. I walk the dogs wearing it. I trail a huge white floral fugue down the road behind me, and it makes me feel feminine and happy. And if you knew how short a list of things make me feel feminine and happy in 2026, you would understand the urgency of walking the dogs in it. There is no reading against the grain available to you with this one. You wear it because you want to smell beautiful, not interesting, not transgressive, not academically defensible, beautiful. The way a person who's decided to be beautiful smells on a Saturday afternoon while picking up after the dogs. The 5 bottles in front of me are doing the same thing, except for the one that isn't. 4 of them are the answer to a question I was trained to be embarrassed about. The 5th, Little Song, is the answer to a different question entirely, and that question is also one I would not have asked in public. I would not have asked it in private either, until very recently. So the Italians must be getting through to me. The trained answer to the first question is something interesting, something academic, something that signals reading. The actual answer on a Tuesday night with a second soda is beautiful, comforting, languorous. The white floral fugue down the road, the vanilla still on the pillow at 5 in the morning, the warmth of a Cleopatra bath, or when the soda is the wrong drink, the coffee and rose that lifts me out of it. I have, in other words, become exactly the kind of woman the cultural conversation warned me about. I'm rather thrilled. I write about fragrance. I am, in this very series, on the public record about which fragrances are intellectually serious, which are emotionally honest, which deserve the attention of people who care. And in private, the fragrance I reach for most frequently is the one Angelina Jolie sold me. I think about this professionally. I think about it when I'm supposed to be thinking of other things. I'm not telling you this so you'll feel free to wear yours, but I am telling you this because I've decided that the part of me that wanted to keep this private, the part of me that thought publicly admitting to Mon Guerlain Intense would compromise my critical authority, is exactly the inheritance I'm choosing not to pass on. The instinct to be embarrassed about pleasure fragrance is not aesthetic. It's gendered. It's classed. It's an inheritance, and it's doing exactly the work it was designed to do. The fragrances I wear when nobody's watching are not transgressive. They are in some way more honest than the ones I wear in public. Because the public ones have a job to do, and the private ones don't. And the private ones, freed of the performance, are allowed to just be what I want. And what I want, it turns out, is to smell beautiful. And occasionally, when beauty's not the thing I need, and I need to be lifted out of sadness by Italian coffee with the rose dropped in, I wear this. I'm a feminist and I wear Mon Guerlain Intense. I'm a fragrance critic and I wear gold on a Tuesday night when nobody's in the house. I have little song for the bad days, and I've stopped apologizing to the dogs. I am not, it turns out, the person I was trained to perform. And that's not a contradiction. That's the point.